Welcome. Are you sitting comfortably? Are you focused and not thinking about whatever's bothering you these days? I'm not here to test you. Please relax. Let your thoughts come and go and listen as they fade away in the distance. For better or for worse, this is where your life has brought you. Looking at a screen, listening to me. Imagine, for a moment, that you've just had a child. It's healthy, but unfortunately also completely blind. For their whole life, they will live in the dark and not see a thing. Their perception of reality is something that you might never be able to comprehend. How would you describe the world to them? What can't be touched or heard, smelled or tasted? How would you describe sunlight? By what it does? Or how it feels on their skin? I think I'd play them this piece of music. First composed by Tchaikovsky in 1878, these rays of light have traveled through decade after decade, finally reaching your ears this very moment. You have also traveled far to get here today, but you're only passing through and should probably get going.
While you're here, I'd like to tell you a story.
It all happened to me when I was young,
Walking in the forest, much like you are.
Those were days filled with boundaries and rules.
Of no running in the hallways, don't do this or that or the other. With my world full of fierce discipline,
I walked the forest to breathe.
One day, deep in the woods, I found a funny-looking tree,
crooked, old, and wrinkly. With little work, a few bits of bark became
huge ships. Calm creeks turned ferocious oceans.
I can still recall the people I imagined dragged downstream
with a sense of guilt. As I gazed back upon the old tree, I noticed something peculiar. It was crying.
Every crumple, like eyes closed tightly.
Clear drops streaming silently down its wrinkly skin.
So I did, as children do, tasted it. Not because it looked tasty, but to figure out what it was.
The first drop made my tongue tingle. The second made it prickle. And the very moment the third landed on my tongue,
A profound sensation spread through my chest.
Undefinable, like thirst, both vague and specific.
one thing was clear.
Something was changing within me.
I remember breathing in and out.
Feeding the fire. light prickling in my fingertips. I studied them closely,
discovering circular ridges in the foreign landscape of my skin. The prickling
soon slipped my attention. It would be another week until it returned, a wave of gentle needles moving over my skin.
A limb falling asleep, perhaps? I did not start worrying until it returned
for the third time. First, making its way up my neck, before engulfing my skull completely from behind. I could even feel the tiny needles covering my eyeballs.
But it did not stop there.
I held my breath as the small thorns crawled around my lips before spreading into my lungs and stomach.
My awareness spread with it, and I remember the strangest sensation
of my mushy dinner in there, as if I held its remains
in the palm of my hand.
Beating heart for a moment, I stood in awe of the activity within my body. I felt my heart beating faster and my skin sweating. Your body is your only vessel in this world. Your body is a place. The claustrophobia is stood. Seek help, I thought.
And at that very moment, the tingling needles shot from my brain down through my spine. I felt them scatter through my upper leg, my muscles contracted to lift my knee.
My body weight shifted forward, and a shockwave spread from the foot sole as it landed softly on the ground.
The process repeats itself in great detail for every step.
I was overwhelmed, but my body
kept moving. I do not alone
feel like the boss, giving directions. It all happened automatically, and I was simply along for the ride.
Like you.
Was cold and white.
Crossing the floor
Felt like a polar expedition. My parents, distant features of the landscape.
I wanted to explain, but
was unable. My lips and tongue
engaged in an intricate choreography.
Myself in the audience, observing the words performed.
My lips muttered, "I'm sure it will pass,"
while my thoughts were
crying for help.
conversation kept going, but I stopped paying attention. Instead,
I was following the hands of a clock mounted on the doctor's wall.
They were both speeding up and slowing down.
I was slipping further and further away.
A levitating camera in a video game merging with the code it was running on. Again
with the binary, with the electronic circuit and so on. I closed my eyes and let my sensations lead me.
First, I spent some time with my bones.
Among their many functions,
I got lost in their continuous breathing, an uninterrupted flow of calcium absorbed and released.
Even my skeleton is alive and living, in and of itself.
I can feel my mind clinging to the known,
to the clattering thoughts, the buzzing of memories and fears of the future.
But for each breath, tension was released.
and my shoulders sunk
comfortably. I had suddenly felt like I was in there, somewhere behind my face.
But I was nowhere to be found. And the more I looked, the more hazy I became.
Eventually opened. They felt as slow as a sunrise.
Photons converted to new signals shooting along the optic nerve,
each carrying a piece of information into the darkness. The brain categorized motion, colors,
edges, distance. I sat for a moment in the dusk, watching the sunrise.
When the world eventually lit up, I was no longer wondering why I had lights up
from the inside. My experience had changed from the fire
to the light it emits.
But it could get much stranger still.
Stretched, I started daydreaming, or so I thought.
It began with a shimmering field creeping slowly in.
From the periphery of my vision, the hands of the clock,
Still moving, but among them,
vague shapes.
Slowly, but surely, I saw trees flowing past me, and among them, myself, sitting right there in the doctor's office
with a vacant expression. While
walking around myself, I was surprised to still see the clock straight ahead.
Myself from the side, the clock on the wall.
The two images were not overlapping, they just
coexisted.
Like imagining a familiar place with your eyes closed, and you see both nothing and something.
And you see both nothing and something at the same time. I turned to look towards myself, but saw only the face of the doctor.
Lingering somewhere between confusion, concern, and noise.
However, when I studied his face closer, I was struck by terror. The image of myself had turned to look straight
into my own eyes. I felt my own head reach out
towards myself.
The weight of my hand landing softly on my own shoulder.
Eyes distant, looking at the doctor, looking at myself. Rules and boundaries disappearing. Wave of nostalgia washing over me, intimate recollections of past sorrow,
relationships, education, and even a medical experience. And at last,
I was no longer
alone. Not in the sense that the doctor was there in the room.
We were together.
In the darkness of my mind, a vast number of sensations are so far.
What do you observe is to share the burden.
Out of sight, a hand picked me up. And as I kept breathing, the fire kept spreading.
soon it swallowed my parents, sitting in their chairs, doubting my story. I felt contradicting opinions and ideas coexist, but not in a conflict. Different notes in harmonious chords, shaping a balance.
Indivisible whole.
More clouds spread into my vision, and more sensations
through my body. The music
Was evolving.
I looked at my hand. 5 fingers
Against the surface felt no different than 5 bodies or minds.
Branches becoming aware that they were connected
To the same trunk all along.
The experience my own.
all of them present in my mind.
The prickling kept spreading. Each needle on my skin, another presence in my mind.
More and more observers sharing the burden. A vast number of sensations flowing.
My world, like musical sunlight,
just passing through. Every individual going about their business, strangers on the street
unaware that they were all each other, their surroundings, and me.
I knew and felt them as I knew and felt myself. And I could no longer feel contempt.
Or that anyone was somehow less deserving.
There was no longer me and you, no us versus them. It was all just me.
As I kept breathing in and out, each new breath pushed me along a ubiquitous landscape that was simply too beautiful to ignore.
What lay past each tree and beyond every hill was another idea
I knew to be true. Mountains,
transient shadows of matter flowing through time.
Slowly from one point of view.
But for the mountain itself, oh boy, it's in a hurry.
Everyone else.
both the whirlpool
and the stream. An expression of energy floating
through empty space.
All experiences merging to one.
There I was, all of us, you, me, I.
The light that shines through the film.
All else is smoke and mirrors.
Stories. This one also ends.
Not because the story has an ending,
but because it keeps moving,
leaving us behind. My body kept living like yours will.
The surfaces preserve its
illusion of separateness. This screen, our very eyes.
I couldn't tell if I ascended or dissolved.
I'm soaring through space,
but I'm able to move, nevertheless.
And as I turn in orbit, the boundary between light and dark keeps moving.
A cascading wave of thoughts,
arriving at dawn,
just to slip away at dusk. A violent competition on a speck of dust suspended in nothing.
an energy field fumbling in the dark, trying to describe myself.
I want to be safe, well fed, not too warm,
Not too cold. To be acknowledged by my closest.
So even though you are another part of me looking back, you will always be a stranger.
A lump of resources.
for my exploitation. The branch is cut, all hemispheres separated once again.
Rocks skipping along the surface, never sinking in.
The inconsistent dash of beauty between the noise, picked up by a stranger with good intentions,
And with it, sentenced to die.
I don't care who you are, or how you found me.
But we are both reaching in. A few lonely rays venturing through space in just
The right direction. Absorbed in our leaves, stored as sweet sugars.
and exhaled as crisp and clean oxygen. And while the light warms us in, while we wait
For the next sunrise, we breathe in
and out.
All that matters is that you are here, right now.
and for a moment, we are together. You and me. As one.
Like we always are. And we always will be.